That jar of peanut butter sitting in your pantry right now, the one you've been spreading on toast, packing into your kids' lunches, stirring into smoothies, there's a good chance it's not actually what you think it is. I don't mean that in a vague, alarmist way. I mean it in a very specific, ingredient-by-ingredient way. Because when you flip most popular peanut butter jars around and actually read what's in them, you'll find things that have no business being in a product that's supposed to be made from peanuts. Today we're going through 14 brands that are cutting corners in ways most shoppers never notice, and then 6 brands that are actually doing it right. Real ingredients, honest labels, no tricks. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which jars to put back on the shelf and which ones are worth your money. Let's get into it. Peanut butter should be one of the simplest foods on the planet. You take peanuts, you grind them up, and you have peanut butter. That's it. That's the whole recipe. Some brands add a pinch of salt, fine. But somewhere along the way, the food industry decided that wasn't enough, that they needed to add hydrogenated oils to keep it from separating, add sugar to make it more addictive, and add emulsifiers and stabilizers to make it look perfect on a shelf for months. Here's what most people don't realize. The word natural on a peanut butter label is almost completely meaningless. There's no federal standard requiring a product labeled natural to meet any specific criteria. Companies use that word freely, and many of the brands we're about to cover use it even while including ingredients that a lot of health-conscious shoppers would never consciously choose. The two things you're really watching for are hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated oils, which are used to prevent separation but have been associated in various studies with concerning effects on cardiovascular health, and added sugars in significant quantities. A little salt is fine. A long ingredients list is a red flag. Keep that in mind as we go through this. Let's start with the brand that probably has the most shelf space in your grocery store. Jif. It's an American institution. Most of us grew up eating it, and it tastes good. That's not the argument. The argument is what makes it taste that way. Standard Jif contains fully hydrogenated vegetable oils and added sugar. The natural version drops the hydrogenated oils, but still includes palm oil and a notable amount of sugar. For a product positioned as a wholesome staple, the ingredient list tells a different story than the marketing does. Right next to Jif, you'll almost always find Skippy. Same story, slightly different execution. Skippy's classic formula includes hydrogenated vegetable oil and sugar. Their natural line moves away from hydrogenated oils but still leans on palm oil and contains more sugar than you'd expect from something marketed as a cleaner option. The brand recognition is massive, but the label doesn't match the health halo. Peter Pan is one that a lot of people overlook because it's slightly less prominent than Jif and Skippy, but it's been on shelves for decades. Their standard peanut butter contains fully hydrogenated vegetable oils and sugar, and the overall ingredient profile is roughly in the same category as the other mainstream spreads. Long shelf life, smooth texture, minimal actual peanut integrity. Next is Great Value, Walmart store brand. And look, value pricing matters to a lot of families. That's completely understandable. But Great Value peanut butter follows the same formula as the big names: hydrogenated oils, added sugar, and a texture that comes from processing rather than from quality ingredients. The low price point comes with trade-offs that aren't always obvious until you're actually reading the label. If you've been buying this one because it was on sale, I get it. But let me explain why the math doesn't always add up the way it seems. Justin's classic peanut butter gets a lot of goodwill in wellness circles, and in some ways it's earned. They do use palm oil rather than hydrogenated oil, which is an improvement, but palm oil is still a controversial ingredient for a number of reasons, including its saturated fat content and concerns around some sourcing practices. Justin's markets heavily to health-conscious consumers, and the better-than-the-average positioning is partially true, but it's not the clean label product the branding sometimes suggests. Smucker's natural peanut butter sounds promising, and compared to Smucker's conventional products, it is an improvement. But the natural line still contains palm oil, and some varieties include added sugar. It's a step in a better direction, but it doesn't quite clear the bar for a truly minimal ingredient product. Crazy Richard's actually has a reasonable reputation, so its presence on this list needs a little context. Their core product, just peanuts, is solid, but some of their flavored and specialty lines reintroduce added sugars and oils. If you're buying Crazy Richard's, read the label on the specific variety. The plain version is fine. The flavored options are a different story. Maranatha is another brand with a health food reputation that varies by product. Their conventional line often contains palm oil and sugar. Their organic options are cleaner, but they're inconsistent. Some varieties have added ingredients that undercut the premium positioning. The branding is ahead of the ingredient deck in a lot of cases. Peanut Butter Company has built a brand identity around fun flavors and creative combinations, and they do have a loyal following. But look closely at most of their flavored varieties and you'll find added sugars, sometimes in significant amounts, along with palm oil in several products. The ingredient quality doesn't match the artisan image they've cultivated. You've probably seen Trader Joe's creamy salted peanut butter in a lot clean eating recommendation lists, and to be fair, some TJ's peanut butter products are reasonably clean. But their standard creamy product does contain palm oil, and depending on which variety you're buying, the ingredient list can be longer than expected. Always check which specific Trader Joe's product you're reaching for. They're not all created equal. Reduced fat Jif is worth calling out separately because it's a textbook example of a reformulation that doesn't actually improve a product. When fat is reduced, something has to replace it for texture and palatability. In this case, that replacement includes corn syrup solids and additional sugars. The reduced fat version is arguably worse than the original from an ingredient quality standpoint. Kroger's store brand peanut butter follows a familiar pattern: hydrogenated oils to prevent separation, added sugar, and an ingredient list that prioritizes shelf stability over ingredient quality. Store brands often mirror the formula of the leading brands, and Kroger's is no exception. Good Gather is Target's store brand, and it's positioned as a cleaner, more premium private label option. Some of their products live up to that. Their peanut butter, though, still includes palm oil in several varieties, and the natural positioning on some products is more marketing language than ingredient reality. Planters, known primarily for nuts, has extended into peanut butter. Their product contains hydrogenated vegetable oil and sugar, which puts it squarely in the mainstream commercial category. The name recognition from the nut side of the business doesn't translate into any meaningful ingredient advantage here. Lastly, Smart Balance Peanut Butter. This one is interesting because Smart Balance built its brand identity around heart health and omega balance, which makes the ingredient profile of their peanut butter somewhat ironic. It contains added sugars, and the overall formulation doesn't really align with the health positioning the parent brand is known for. Alright, here's where we shift gears. Because this isn't just about what to avoid. There are brands out there that actually get it right, and they deserve recognition. Once again, organic peanut butter is as close to perfect as it gets in this category. Ingredients: organic peanuts, salt. That's it. It's available in multiple textures. The organic certification means something here, and the company operates as a worker-owned cooperative with genuine transparency about their sourcing. This is the standard everything else should be measured against. Teddy. All-natural peanut butter is a regional brand that's been doing it right for decades. Their all-natural version contains just peanuts and salt. No palm oil, no added sugars, no stabilizers. It separates, meaning you'll need to stir it, but that separation is actually a sign that nothing has been added to prevent it. Find this one and stick with it. Kirkland's signature organic peanut butter from Costco is genuinely one of the best value options in the clean label space. Organic peanuts, salt, nothing else. The bulk size makes it economical, and the ingredient integrity is consistent. This is a rare case where the store brand is actually one of the better options available. Santa Cruz Organic makes a peanut butter that earns its organic label. 2 ingredients: organic dry roasted peanuts and salt, with a light roast option that has a noticeably cleaner flavor profile than most commercial brands. Widely available at natural food stores and increasingly at mainstream grocery stores. Spread the Love makes a naked peanut butter that lives up to its name. 1 ingredient: peanuts. No salt, no oil, nothing added. If you want the absolute minimum ingredient option, this is it. It's a bit harder to find in physical stores, but it's readily available online and at some specialty retailers. P5. By Whole Foods Market. Organic peanut butter rounds out the good list. For Whole Foods shoppers, this is the one to reach for. Organic peanuts, salt, consistent quality, and a price point that's reasonable for a certified organic product. Simple, reliable, and honest about what it is. Here's the takeaway from everything we just covered. Peanut butter doesn't need to be complicated. It doesn't need hydrogenated oils. It doesn't need added sugars. It doesn't need palm oil or corn syrup solids or emulsifiers. Those ingredients exist to serve the manufacturer's shelf life and profit margin goals, not yours. The brands on the good list prove that simple is possible at a range of price points. Once again, Teddy, Kirkland Organic. These aren't luxury products. They're just honest ones. Flip every jar over before you buy it. If the ingredient list has more than 2 items, peanuts and maybe salt, ask yourself what those extra ingredients are actually doing there and who they're really serving. If you found this helpful, share it with someone who's still buying from the first list without realizing what's in it. Drop a comment telling me which brand you've been buying and whether you're making a switch. And subscribe if you want more breakdowns like this. We see you over a lot of ground in this channel, and there's always something worth knowing that most labels won't tell you directly. You've got the information now. Use it.